Most people don't realize their mistakes too late. They realize them early, just not clearly enough to stop. A detail that doesn't add up, a decision that feels rushed, a situation that raises a quiet question. Nothing urgent, nothing serious. So it gets ignored, and that's how mistakes grow. I'll tell you a story. Mikey had been saving for 3 years, carefully, deliberately. Every extra income, every sacrifice, every delayed expense, it all went into one goal, to finally invest in something that could change his life. So when his friend introduced him to an opportunity, it felt like perfect timing. A small company, fast growth, guaranteed returns. That phrase stayed in his mind. The first time he heard it, something felt wrong. Not loud, not alarming, just unusual. Nothing is guaranteed, he knew that. But the numbers looked convincing. The presentation was clean. The people involved sounded confident. And most importantly, he didn't want to miss it. A week later, he was invited to a small meeting. There were about 10 people in the room. Everyone seemed excited. Stories of early investors, stories of fast returns, stories that sounded almost too smooth. Michael noticed something. No one talked about risk, not seriously. It was mentioned briefly, then brushed aside. He caught that detail, but didn't question it. On his way home, the thought came back. This might not be right. He sat with it for a moment, then did what most people do. He adjusted it. Maybe I don't just understand it fully. Maybe this is how these things work. Maybe I'm overthinking. A few days later, he made a decision. He invested. Not everything, but enough to matter. Enough that losing it would hurt. At first, everything looked fine. Updates came in, numbers increased. Returns appeared exactly as promised. Michael felt relieved, even proud. He told himself he had made the right decision. That initial doubt faded. Then small things started to change. Responses became slower, updates became less detailed. Questions were answered, but not clearly. Michael noticed. Again, that same feeling returned. But now it is easier to ignore because he was already in. Weeks passed. The platform still showed growth. But something didn't feel right. He tried withdrawing a small amount. It was delayed, then processed, but slower than expected. He paused. That was another sign. Clearer this time, but still not enough to act on. He told himself it is probably normal. These things take time, no need to panic. A month later, the update stopped. Completely. No messages, no responses, no explanations. That's when everything became clear. Michael sat staring at his phone, refreshing, waiting, knowing. The realization didn't arrive slowly, it arrived all at once. Sharp. Unavoidable, heavy. Every sound replayed in his mind, the word guarantee, the missing discussion of risk, the vague answers, the delayed withdrawal, the quiet feeling he had from the very beginning. He hadn't missed the mistake, he had seen it multiple times, just not in a way that forced them to stop. That was the truth that stayed with him. The mistake wasn't invisible, it was simply easy to ignore. Because at the beginning, the cost of ignoring it was small, just a thought. Just a question, just a moment of hesitation. But ignoring it created something else. Momentum, commitment, involvement. And the deeper he went, the harder it became to step back. By the time the mistake was undeniable, it was already expensive. Michael didn't just lose money, he lost something more subtle. Trust in his own judgment. Because he remembered clearly, he had known. Not fully, not with proof, but enough. That's how mistakes happen, not through sudden bad decisions, but through small ignored signals, repeated, adjusted, explained away, until they become consequences. After that, Michael changed something simple. He didn't become paranoid. He didn't stop taking risks, but he stopped ignoring early discomfort. When something didn't add up, he stayed with it longer. When something felt off, he questioned it, even when it was inconvenient, even when it slowed things down. Because he understood something most people learn too late. The early version of a mistake is the cheapest moment to correct it. Most people don't realize their mistakes too late because they lack intelligence. They realize them late because the early signals didn't feel important enough to confront. So they continue, they commit, they adjust, until one day the mistake becomes undeniable. And by then, it is no longer just a realization, it's a consequence.